Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé I won't help pay the mortgage? Original post. For some background, I, 29 female, and my fiancé, 30 male, have been together for 10 years. We had a baby back in 2020 and I lost my job around the same time. Our lease to our apartment was up, and my grandma offered for us to move in with her, so we did. We basically had our own little apartment rent-free. I had thrown the idea of going to school out there, and everyone agreed it was a good idea. My fiancé paid for it and my grandma watched my baby while I went to class. I graduate this semester. I did part-time for a couple semesters. My fiancé has been making $90,000 a year for the past couple years and $70,000 when we first moved in. He saved a good amount of money. We agreed to wait to get married until I finished school and we could buy a house together. We've been looking at houses more seriously for a past couple months and found one we both love. We started talking to a mortgage broker, and that's when he dropped the bomb on it being him and only him on the mortgage and the deed. He said I wouldn't have anything to do with it. I didn't say anything in the meeting, but afterwards I told him I thought we were buying the house together and I'd pay half the mortgage. He said I would be paying half the mortgage, but my name just wouldn't be on it. So I told him that would mean I'd have no right to the house. And he said he knew? He said since he saved the 40% down, that it's only fair that he has the rights to the house in case we end things. I told him if that's what he wants to do, that I'm not paying for the mortgage. I said this isn't a partnership, and if he just wants his own place, fine, but I'm not paying for it. He called me a bitch, saying that he paid for everything for the past few years, including my schooling. I told him I stayed home and watched our child so we didn't have to pay for daycare, and that ended up saving us money, since I would have been only able to work part-time. He said he didn't care, and I need to pay for half, since I already agreed to it. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing to pay the mortgage? Edit to add. Originally, we were supposed to move in with my grandma for a few months, while we saved some money for renting a new place. I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to go to school, so I'd make more money, and we could potentially buy a place. My grandma said we should stay with her until I finish school so we can save up for a life together. My fiancé and I had agreed that we would be buying a house together. He paid for the schooling because we were getting married and my student loans would have been our problem, not just mine. He encouraged me to finish my education so we could give our child a better quality of life. For those of you saying him paying for my schooling would be more expensive than rent, my schooling in total costed $17,000. Across 5 years, that's $3,400 a year on average. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. He got free rent and free childcare thanks to your family, which allowed him to save that money. If your name isn't on that house, you shouldn't put a dime into it. I'm honestly rethinking getting married at this point. This feels so out of left field. He's literally never treated me this way before. I thought going to school and taking care of our son while not having to pay rent would have been an equal trade to him being able to save money honestly. Couples therapist here. Do not marry someone you aren't in sync with for kids, parenting, money, religion, and managing each other's family. Or someone who calls you the B word when they don't get their way. Not the a-hole. If your name isn't on the deed, don't pay the mortgage. Honestly, I'd debate moving into a house that was just his, and then getting married. If he wants help with the mortgage, then he has to accept that you will also own the house. This was the original agreement. This is the first I've heard of me not being on the deed or mortgage. Info. Can you guys not sign a contract where he owns 70% of the equity and you 30%? He puts down 40%. The remaining 60% is split between both of you, and you both pay the mortgage? He is an a-hole for how he spoke to you. It's not that I'm against doing something like this, but it feels like he's already thinking of screwing me in a divorce and we're not even married. Now for the update. So first, thank you to everyone who commented. A lot of you had great insight and were very supportive. To those who weren't, I got to see a perspective of how my fiancé might be feeling, so thank you for that too. To answer some questions, my grandma offered to give us a place to stay for a few months while I looked for a job, and so we could save some money. This was the beginning of the lockdown, and no one was sure what the job market would look like. I had brought up finishing my degree, and my grandma offered to watch my baby while I was in class. My fiancé said he'd pay for it since we didn't have to pay for rent or daycare. He called it an investment in our future. I got a Pell Grant and a scholarship, so he ended up only having to pay, on average, $3,400 a year for the schooling. If I wasn't going to school, my grandma didn't want us staying there long term. This was purely her trying to give us a leg up and help us in our future. She wouldn't have done so if she knew what my fiancé was going to do. She said this. For the update, I told my fiancé we needed to talk about this arrangement, and I asked why he changed his mind all of a sudden. He said he worked hard for his money and didn't want to lose everything if we got divorced. I said that was fair, but he's now putting me in a position to lose everything if I have zero rights to the property. He said I didn't save up the money, so the house should be his, and his alone, until and unless I put down 40% also. I asked if he'd consider a prenup that would give him the 40% he put down, and we'd split 50-50 the rest of the equity. I said this would protect the lump sum he put down, while also giving me equity I'd be paying for. He said he'd have to think about it, but he doesn't like the idea of having to sell if we split. I said then he can get his own place that he can afford on his own if he doesn't want me on a title that badly. This one he could barely afford with just his income. Not sure if he'd even be approved for the mortgage on his own, to be honest. I also mentioned that I wanted to do couples therapy before we get married. He said no, that we didn't need therapy, and I just needed to listen to him. That was the end of the conversation. I don't know who this person is. This is not the man I had a child with. The man I had a child with massaged me every night while I was pregnant. He listened attentively to every random thing I wanted to talk about. He treated me with the utmost respect. He was the only person I wanted with me while I gave birth. He used to say he could never hurt me or screw me over because it'd hurt our child. I love him so much. I don't know what happened. I would not marry this man or buy a house with him. Time to set up some co-parenting guidelines and go your separate ways. He showed you who he is. Believe him. Yup, see a lawyer about custody, child support, and get a third-party co-parenting app. Because anyone that say OP needs to just listen to him won't be the easiest person to co-parent with. I still don't get how he thinks the 40% down payment is all his, when he saved it by living rent-free at grandma's. Your offer was very generous, OP. I would end this thing and sue him for back rent or breach of promise. This whole thing stinks. Glad you got an education out of it anyway. I don't know how he has any percent down if he can't qualify for a mortgage without her. We were just talking to a mortgage broker. Nothing has been signed yet. She asked if it would be both of us on the application, and that's when he said no, it'd just be him. I was just saying, considering the price of the house, I doubt he'd be approved off his income alone. OP, you need to run. This can get very dangerous very fast. This man is desperately trying to overpower and control every aspect of your life. It starts with it being his house, then it's his money, his child, and you're nothing. I don't want to scare you, but it feels as though he baby-trapped you. Meaning even if you decide to leave him, you'll be tied by the child you share. He doesn't want to do therapy because he is aware of his behavior. He knows what he's doing. The therapist will know his true intentions and expose them. He's trying to gaslight you into thinking he's not being abusive. Please get separate accounts and stay at your grandmother's place until you can get a place away from him. We do have separate accounts, thankfully. He'll have zero access to my money once I start my job in a couple weeks. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend that I will not ask my sister to visit her lake house? My sister and her husband have had a lake house for 10+ years. I have asked to visit the lake house with them many times over 10 years. Sister and her husband go to the lake house every summer for fun weekends. They plan some alone weekends. His family goes on a weekend. Sister takes her own children, my nieces, and her grandchildren, my great-nephews, on a weekend. Another weekend they take husband's elderly mother. Another weekend they take the husband's disabled adult daughter. And I understand this pattern, and that is great. In the past, when I have asked to visit the lake house, she says, "Oh, you are always welcome anytime." Then I say, "Okay, let me know day and time to visit." Well, sister has never communicated with me in advance what day and time to arrive. This has happened many times over the 10+ years. Each summer when we talk, sister tells me about boat rides, 4th of July fireworks, other fun details. I respond with positive comments like, "That sounds fun. Let me know next time." Sister and I have no relationship problems. We are pretty close and talk on phone every week. Sister does have some anxiety issues, so that may be the problem. Sister does not stay or live at the lake house. They are only there on weekends, so I can't drop by anytime because she does not tell me in advance when they will be there and there is no schedule. So I stopped asking to go a couple years ago. Also, my adult son would love it too, and he has never been asked. Now my boyfriend says that I am wrong because I stopped asking. After 10+ years of asking and being disappointed, I am tired of asking without a response. Boyfriend says I should just demand to be invited. WTF. It is my sister's and her husband's lake house, so they have a right to invite whoever they want. I am not going to demand or fight with sister over it because I do not want to risk ruining our relationship. So is my boyfriend right? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Yeah, as someone whose family has a beach house, if you start demanding to go, they will talk crap about you and it will affect whatever relationship y'all have. When our family demands, it gives the impression of entitlement over a beach house that they don't pay mortgage, upkeep, cleaning, or any type of bills on. If she wanted y'all to go, she would have very clearly invited y'all to go. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, OP. However, the next time that she says you're always welcome, pull out your calendar and ask her what works for her. If that doesn't work, then you know that she's not sincere. Or better yet, let her know that it kind of stings when she mentions it, and ask if she would maybe not mention it so much. Your boyfriend is wrong. If she wanted you to visit, she would have asked you. I hope you get your own and don't invite her. And why is he problem-solving your relationship with your sister and the lake house? No a-holes here, but I think you're doing this to yourself. Your sister has given you an open invitation, which is very gracious, so it's not her responsibility to also chase after you to find out your schedule and see what works with her own. The onus is on you to say, "Hey sis, I can't believe I've never made it out to the lake house with you. I would cherish spending some time with you out there this summer. My availability this summer is X, Y, and Z. What weekend would work best for you, as I know you have many guests during the summer, and I wouldn't want to overwhelm you or impose." Boom. Your sister knows your availability, can check her own, and give to a date that works best for her. My grandparents had an in-ground pool and large opulent deck, a hot tub, and a sauna, and hosted people all summer long. They never hunted people down to see when they wanted to come. They put the invitation out there and then hosted whoever bothered to accept. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife's best friend I don't care about how she feels after my wife broke their friendship? My wife broke her friendship with one of her friends about a week ago. The reason was because her friend insulted me in front of everyone, and my wife got angry and kicked her out and stopped talking to her. For some context, my wife's friend proposed a trip to a different country, and she said it should be only girls' trip. My wife refused to go, so she came to me thinking that I might convince my wife. But I refused. I said going to a different country is risky, and I will never allow my wife to go somewhere so far with only 3 or 4 women. It's too risky. She got angry at me instead, and she said their husbands would encourage them instead of confining them, and I'm a bad, controlling, and abusive husband. And she called me a lot of nasty names. My wife got angry, and she said that she doesn't feel safe going to a different country without me, and she doesn't want to join them. And she cursed her back for cursing at me and kicked her out. From what I know from my wife, she stopped talking to her and haven't been responding to her calls. She said she doesn't want to be friends with someone who disrespects her family in such a nasty way in front of everyone. My wife defending me like this made me happy, not gonna lie. I would have done the same. But yesterday, her friend, or should I say ex-friend, called me, and she said she's sorry for what she said, and she misses my wife and doesn't want to lose her friendship of 3 years over nothing. She said she feels depressed, and I should talk to my wife and convince her to not break their friendship. I told her that it has nothing to do with me and it's between her and my wife, and they should figure it out themselves. She said she feels bad and scared that she might lose my wife forever. I said I don't care about how she feels, and I hung up. But now her and my wife's other friends are saying that I'm being an a-hole for being rude to her and not helping her. Am I the a-hole? I might have helped her if she didn't insult me, but now I don't want to, and I think it's good that my wife kicked her toxic friend out of our lives. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole for saying that your wife's feelings matter more to you than anyone else's, but you are the a-hole for saying allow when talking about your wife going on a girls' trip. It does sound controlling and abusive. Absolutely. Any sentence that starts with, I will never allow my wife to, always comes from a Premier League a-hole. OP, you've trained your wife well. Do you think my wife is a dog that I trained her? Of course, if it's unreasonable and risky, I wouldn't let my wife do something that'll put her in danger, and my wife would also not allow me to do something that'll hurt me. We're partners and we both care for each other. We understand each other. My wife on multiple occasions didn't allow me to do certain things, and I obliged. Not the a-hole. For some context, my wife's friend proposed a trip to a different country, and she said it should be only girls' trip. My wife refused to go, so she came to me thinking that I might convince my wife. Her friend asked your wife first, and she told her no. She then went behind your wife's back to ask you, expecting you to intercede and encourage her to go. You told her how you felt. Then the blast came about you being abusive and controlling. Your wife went back to the now ex-friend and gave her what for and ended the friendship. The ex-friend didn't respect your wife. Your wife was right to end the friendship. You didn't forbid your wife to go. Your wife didn't want to go without you. End of story. I am sorry that people are calling you controlling and abusive. I don't agree. Not to mention that the ex-friend then wants the husband to be controlling and convince his wife to re-engage the friendship. It's only controlling when it's not benefiting her. It's fine and dandy when it benefits her.